Art Teacher Abby here, ready to make some more art today. We are going to be making some bubble print beehives from the spring seedlings box. So we're going to need our beehive template, some bubble wrap, our yellow paint, sponge brush, plate, paper, oil pastels, glue, and pencil. You might also need some scissors. Let's get started. Alright, so now what I'm going to need is my piece of bubble wrap and my beehive template here. So we've got this beehive. I'm going to set my brush off to the side for just a second. I'm going to put it on the edge of my plate since it still has some paint on it. And I'll need my yellow paint. I'm going to fill up my plate some more. And then I'm going to dip my brush in the yellow paint, and I'm going to put some yellow paint on top of my bubble wrap. And I want the bubbles facing up. So instead of the flat side facing up, I want the bubbles facing up. And I'm going to paint those bubbles. And you don't need to cover the whole bubble sheet. And if you don't want to, you really just need a space covered. So mine's looking like this right now. And then I'm going to flip it over very carefully. I'm watching my fingers. See, I didn't cover the whole thing so that my fingers can still hold the outside edge. And I'm just going to place it on top of my beehive and press down like this. And then I'm going to carefully lift it up. Look at that! I got a little bubble print. So you can kind of see that maybe I had a lot of paint in this area and not as much paint in that area. So when I go to add some more, I'm going to try not to have as much paint as I did the first time so I can get more of those little bubbles. And I'm going to paint my bubble wrap again, and flip it over and press, and squish it down and peel it up. Now let's see what happens if we just press it down without adding more paint, what that looks like. Maybe we have enough paint on our bubbles to make some more. There we go. So we're just going to keep doing this until we've covered our whole beehive. Doesn't it kind of look like a honeycomb now? Did you know that you could use bubble wrap to print like this? We're going to keep going like that. So what we're doing is something in art called print making. And that's anytime you're using like a stamp to add a picture or a design over and over and over again, that's called print making. And that's a type of art making that some artists do. And we're using bubble wrap to do print making. I'm gonna add some more. I'm just gonna keep adding to my beehive until I've covered most of it and I feel like it's got enough bubble design on it. There we go. Maybe some right up here. There we go, just like that. That looks pretty good, don't you think? Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to let our beehive dry and we need to let our yellow spoons dry. So I'll see you back here in a little bit when both of those are dry. Okay, for the next part, you're going to need your yellow and white pieces of paper, your black oil pastel, which came in your Artful Seeds bag, and a pencil. So I'm going to start with my black oil pastel and my white piece of paper, and I'm just going to color this white paper with my black oil pastel, and I'm pressing down a little bit firmly so that I get a lot of oil pastel on the surface. What you don't want to do is work really lightly like that, because then this process won't really work. So you want to kind of push hard and cover a good amount of your paper. You want to get a lot of oil pastel covered on the surface. So I'm going to keep coloring and adding a layer. And keep going like this. And I'm kind of holding my paper down with my other hand so it doesn't wiggle around too much like this. If I'm not holding it, see how it's wiggling? So I'm holding it down with my other hand. All right, so once I've covered a good bit of it, I'm gonna take my yellow piece of paper and put it on top like this. I'm gonna take my pencil, I'm gonna make sure my pencil is nice and sharpened, and I'm just gonna draw a bumblebee. And your bumblebee can look any way you want. So I think I'm gonna give them kind of a big round head and a kind of a fat little body. Maybe put a little stinger at the bottom. Draw some stripes. I think I'm gonna fill this one in like this. And fill this one in too. And I think I'm gonna add some wings. And maybe some antennae. Maybe some big eyeballs like this, maybe a little smile, maybe some lines in the wings just so that you've got a little extra. Okay, so once you feel like your bumblebee drawing is done, you just take your paper and flip it over. Look at that. So what we just did is something called a monoprint. So it's a process of printmaking, and mono means one. So we made one print with our line drawing. It's a trace line monoprint. And look at that, that looks pretty good. So now that we've done it with our black oil pastel, you have other colors in your oil pastel bag, and you can make other bumblebees or bugs using other colors. So I'm gonna get some of my other colors out. And with the yellow paper, it works a little bit better to have darker colors, but you could also put your oil pastel on your yellow paper and cut out a more colorful butterfly on your white paper if you wanted to. So I'll show you what that looks like. I'm gonna put some purple down, and again, I'm pressing really hard so I get lots of oil pastel on my paper. I'm gonna maybe try some red, and I can even mix my color on top of each other. Maybe do something like that. Maybe try some blue over here. Maybe try some pink. Okay, so I've got lots of oil pastel color down. I'm gonna put my white paper on top like this. And I'm gonna draw, I think, another little bumblebee friend. Maybe I'll make his body look a little different. Maybe I'll make him a little bit longer and give him maybe a little bit different wing. Maybe different antennae. Give him some stripes. But you could do this with any other type of bug friend if you wanted to make butterflies or ladybugs or creepy crawlies, anything you want. Maybe we'll try some wing patterns like this. Okay, and then you just flip it, and look at that! I've got a really colorful rainbow bee. Now I've got two little bee friends there. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna check on our beehive and see that that's all dry. So I'll see you back here in just a minute. All right, my beehive is nice and dry. So I'm gonna take my brown piece of paper and I'm gonna get my glue bottle ready and my scissors, and I'm gonna cut out my beehive. So I'm gonna just cut around the edge. And it's okay if it's not perfect. Just do your best to cut around the outside of the beehive. And if you need some help from a grown-up, you can always ask for help. Because sometimes cutting can be tricky. And remember that I'm a grown-up and I cut things all the time, so I'm a little bit faster at using scissors. You take your time and you go slow and get it as close as you can. Once we have our beehive cut out, we're gonna get our brown piece of paper. I'm gonna flip my beehive over. I'm gonna put some dots of glue along the edge here. Remember, just a dot, not a lot. Okay, so I've got dots all the way around. I'm gonna carefully flip it over and put it on my brown piece of paper and kind of press with my hands, get that glue to stick. Sometimes it comes out on the outside edge like this. If that happens, you can just wipe it with your finger or grab a tissue or a paper towel and kind of clean up that extra glue that squirts out sometimes. And you're gonna just press that all the way around. Okay, we're gonna let that kind of sit for a second to dry. And while that's drying, we're gonna get out our cute little monoprint buggies here. And I'm gonna also just cut carefully around those. I'm gonna leave a little bit of paper outline so that you can really see my lines I made with my oil pastels. I'm gonna carefully kind of cut around the bug and not cut the lines off so that you can see it better. Especially with this part by the antennae, because those are a little bit more delicate and maybe harder to cut around. So if you wanted to just kind of cut like this all the way around, you could. Okay. So here's one little buggy. I'll get my other one. And then we're just gonna glue our little bee friends to our beehive. And then from there you can decorate it some more if you wanna use your oil pastels on top and add some other colors or some other details. You can, or if you like it just the way it is, you can hang it up somewhere, show someone the awesome beehive and bees you made for our springtime craft. There. Just like that. So I've got two little bee friends there. I'm gonna put just a little bit of glue on the back and flip those over. I'm gonna glue this one kind of by the little door of their beehive. Glue this one kind of up here like that. There we go. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Look at those cute little bees and that fun printmaking beehive that we made. I bet yours looks awesome. All right, artists, thanks for making art with me today. Bye.